So I have two running installations at the moment, one in Madrid and another one in San Francisco. And this is what it is. So I'm just pressing.
This, that, throw this. This, not her, and not this.
Okay, it's not great, so maybe I show you this.
Hear them come for me.
Go here.
And you went nuts.
Ice.
So
Hold the ice. Think.
anyway, this is a generative hip hop installation. So it's called the Infinite Hip Hop Loop. And so you have hip hop from the late 80s, mid 80s until mid 90s. It's the idea, with samples coming from the drum machines of the time. And I did a lot of recording of 11 hip hop singers. And that's they are here on the left side. And you have the samples here, sliced, and some clips here. And the whole thing is played, is controlled by some Max for Live devices using probabilities, very simple things. But in the background, there is something I want to show you. And therefore, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. Sorry, distrib. I go to others. I need to reopen the session. And I don't know if you remember last time I was talking about LZ. You know, it's like this zip algorithm based thing. And I worked a little bit more on this for that hip hop generative thing. So some of the beats, not of them, all of them are made with this. So this is how it works. I made a Max for Live device for that, which is here on the left side. And let's say I'm taking this song, for instance. So I will make more scenes here, and I will just play this guy first. Perfect. I love organ music. It's another story. But this is mostly because of the reverb. And it's also perfect for what I'm going to do. So actually in here I have this device, and I can open it, and I have an interface like this. So the nice thing is if I click here, it tells me something is wrong, and I go here. So what I'm doing is I have a few parameters, like 4 dimensions. The first one is the pitch, position, duration, and velocity. So I have 3 different algorithms, super basic. One of them is random. The other one is sequence. So what it's going to do is it's going to take the sequence within the MIDI file and loop it if I'm in sequence, or I can randomize everything, all the pitches together, or regenerate them. If I regenerate them, I'm using this zip thing. So I can give how many groups of notes I want to be analyzed together, the grain of my analysis. And here I can add, I will be able to add some randomness. I will talk more about it. How many versions I want. Let's say I want 5 of them with roughly 1,000 notes, and I press here. And now it's analyzing the whole sequence, so it's a bit slow, and it's inserting slots inside. You see, tac, 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 number 4, and number 5. The nice thing with this is, so yes, that's the thing. So if I look now, I can close my device, and I open here, I have, let's see. Okay, maybe this one. Okay, well, why not? So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. I showed you the last time I showed you this. It's gonna be an issue. I should do this. If I click the option and then I press here, it will come. So it's using the back library. Thank you very much. And let's say if I have this, a sequence here, if I press here, I have the list. I have a dictionary. It's making a dictionary. And this dictionary is here. And I have the addresses, like this is the sequence I get here. And here on the very right side of it, I see how much I could compress the data, how much I can put. That's the thing. Very useful. And actually, this number here is this entropy here. That's what I call entropy. So, I mean, it's somehow the order, how much randomness I have in the thing. So, very interesting. But it's only 1D, as you see. It's only a sequence of things. So it's a bit of a problem, I think, because I'm very interested by, many of you know, by visual stuff. And for instance, you know Escher. And so it's like a 2D. It's a 2D tiling, let's say, and it's super interesting. So I thought, why not using, for instance, NMF and do an NMF analysis, and each component is one line, you know, like maybe this one here or this one here, let's say. So if I do this, I will get, okay. So I'm very sorry for the patches. These are not softwares, they are prototypes. So the one you use, the Max for Live device is very clean. Inside, you can use it. It's actually already online. But this stuff, it's for the piece, so it's very different. So I'm taking the voice, one of the pop singer I was talking about. I show you a few of them. Initial session. Sorry. Distrib, bounces. Like say, I can take bricks.
Every day smiles at what you think you might have. Every day smile at what you know you've had.
So Missy Elliott bit, I mean, it's not nice for her, but maybe another one, Will Black.
I ain't going anywhere. Play the shame, save the blame. Click, slick like sexy, you spin. Forget gold.
Anyway, and so on. The text comes from Hassan Khan, who is a visual artist, Egyptian visual artist. Very interesting. So let's go back here. So I'm taking one of the voice, and I'm slicing, and I have a few components. So I made lots of experiments. I can tell you I spent a lot of time. First thing I do is I'm slicing each component. Okay, first thing, because I want to do some 2D LZ. That's the idea. Because my idea from the very beginning is to kill the time. So in two ways. First of all, it takes so much time that it's very good for killing time. And the other way is to not from a sequence, timed sequence with a beginning and ending, I analyze everything and I try to generalize it in a way that I'm removing its time component. So basically, in other words, I want to make it boring when it's interesting. So therefore, I need to do some slicing. So I did a bit of slicing, and then I will, maybe I show you the inside. So, okay, this is very simple, NMF analysis. So, okay, this is mostly the same as the help. Okay, bon, putain. Okay, mostly the same as the help patch, okay? So I have a source and I'm doing something. But the last time I came, I thought it was super, I have to say, I was very impressed, genius idea to be able to make a first NMF with many components and then to mix all of the components together according to some descriptor, some, I would say, constraints in a way. That's a good thing. So this is what I'm doing here. So I tried many different techniques to analyze them. So, okay, I'm using the descriptor tilde. And what I really wanted to have is something, because I'm using voice, and I don't want to separate pitched and unpitched, because we have heard this zillions of times. So I wanted to have something more like something like this, you know, out of a language, out of the hip hop thing. So I do 100 components, first of all, because I don't know exactly how many I should choose. That's a big story. I tried also with only 5, and I got better results with 100, and then I take the pitch of them. So I do an analysis of the pitch, very simple. Then I take the maximum of it, and then, okay, I'm doing some renumbering. Well, okay, this is some other things. And then when I have this, I'm remaking another NMF with the pitches I want, the most important pitches I have in each line, okay? Plus, so, okay, this is one thing. Second thing is I'm slicing everything. So this is what I'm doing here. Again, extremely simple. So, well, nothing special actually. And then here I'm just doing some, the slicing. I'm using the fluid slice object with the energy. This was the most convenient one for me. Actually, I will talk about this later, a few details. And then what I'm doing, it's very important for musical reasons, for me at least, because I'm very interested. You will notice tomorrow it's very rhythmical. I'm I'm slicing the thing in fixed durations. So I'm just grouping everything together. So I have like, I can try, for example, 50 seconds, 50 milliseconds, and so on. Because what I need to do is to group the information together in order to do a proper analysis. Otherwise, I would need a lot of speech, and I don't have a lot. Actually, I have a lot of recordings, but the process would be so slow, you know, having 100 components with NMF, and doing 100 components NMF for 3 hours of sound file, it's impossible. So I'm using only chops of 20, 30 seconds maximum, and that already takes a lot of time. So therefore, I need, instead of having a lot of information I can cluster together, I'm organizing it, I'm optimizing in another way. I'm optimizing the way I'm organizing the information, because I don't have so much information, okay? So this is the outcome here, and then I have a problem, because I told you I want to do some 2D tiling. So the question is, what happens when this, let's say, what I'm going to do is this. Okay, go a bit closer. This is my component, another one. I need to analyze, okay, the sequence like this. But I need also to know that when I have this one and this one. When I have this one, I have these tiny bits here and here. No. And I made a patch for that. This is what the patch is doing. And then it's analyzing everything. And then I group them together. And then I send that into my LZ, back LZ thing. And then I will try to resynthesize it, okay? So, yes. So there are many different ways. So I could be vertical. So I would just say, okay, when I have this guy, I have this one and this one and this one. When I have this one, I have the no. But this can be more interesting, more tricky, with different ones. Like I group them together, 2 by 2, for instance. This would be the case, for example. And the nice thing, this is the dream thing I haven't done yet, is to be able to make patterns. I mean, my analysis is done in a way that sometimes I'm shifting or I'm distorting my space in order to have interesting relationships between component slices. That's the dream, okay? But that's another cool one. Okay, this idea, I got this idea that I could, for example, mix them. So there is an overlap between them, between components. So maybe I take the mean in the, or maybe in the middle, or I take the mean for the whole sample, and then I overlap them, and I get some interesting things like this. This is just for my analysis, or total random also would be nice. When I say that, this is super cool, very interesting, I think, in terms of synthesis. So if my grains are small enough, I may have some interesting moiré effects. And this is what I'm really interested in. But for obviously, I didn't get, now we can go back to reality. That's what I mean. So now let's go back to reality. I have, okay. So
each slice is a category. So
each slice is a category. Yes, yes, exactly. Actually, no. A category is a group of slices.
okay.
Because if I would have each slice is a category if I'm 1D, but I'm 2D, so it's like a parenthesis basically. Okay. So you saw in the live session, Max for Live session object, I have a group thing that allows me to know how many notes I want to categorize together. Tac, tac, tac. I do the same here, but vertically. That's the idea. Okay, so then after my segmentation, I do some something I completely forgot. Yes, this is the reorganization of everything, and then I have 3 sequencers here. Fuck. Sorry. So, okay, 3 sequencers here, and they correspond somehow to a few techniques like this, but totally empirical. Okay. So, for instance, the first one here, you see the patch. Extremely messy, but I like it. I liked because I spent so much time in my life making so-called clean patches. For me, it's really a nice feeling to make whatever, and it has to work. And then maybe if it works, I will reorganize it afterwards. So this is the LZ thing. This is, I'm retrieving data, and I'm using, actually, I'm using a Markov here, some Markov chains. That's the stuff I showed you before, from Dada, I think. In order to, because I have a sequence here, this sequence comes from the organization of the thing. I have this, and then I do something. So, for example, just as an example, this very patch, this one, is taking the samples, the slices, and okay, so it's not advancing by time, it's adding the slice together. So it's not, I couldn't do that in real time. So I'm adding, let's say I have one chop here, another one here, another one here. Then I found something else that would fit here, I put it here, and so on and so on. So it's a kind of interesting tiling. And then I press the play button here, and let's see what happens. Now I can go shopping, buy a coffee. It takes a while, and I have a cutter here. It's kind of bad French joke, and here are the samples. So it's like the chops, you know. I'm doing it. It takes a while. It takes so long actually that I will stop it.
Was this thousands of buff composers that you returned to?
Exactly. So I'll show you something. If I can stop it, I can unzoom. Let's stop it here. Okay.
What it is doing is the analysis?
No, sorry. This is the. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not clear. This is the. This is the analysis.
Okay.
I have a dictionary with a lot of things, and then this stuff is just taking the samples and put them together.
Okay.
into a multi-channel buffer.
So the analysis is super quick.
Yes,
but
the analysis is super quick.
recombination is super.
Exactly. Recombination is very slow. This is the thing. So I show you because I want to talk about this technical issue. So I have, this is just a way to, okay, I'm using the feed buffer compose thing with blocking at 0. So I have some results and I'm not extremely happy with them for the moment.
Have you ever been?
Sorry?
Have you ever been extremely happy?
No, that's true.
But
But
just asking.
so let's show. First of all, I will show you the hip hop quickly. Yes, actually, yes, 5 minutes is quite short. Hip hop. Okay, let's do some
But
hip
you know,
hop.
that's a casual.
Yeah,
So you remember the hip hop?
It is casual, but there's a time when it's not casual.
Hip hop. The girl. Bother me. Okay. And so on. Okay, so it's like continuous. Indeed, I'm happy. It sounds like MP3. I love it because of all the filters. It's super nice. But I wanted to have it sounding more synthetic. So therefore, I used instead, and because of this, why I have a clear pitch and everything is clearer with synthetic sounds. This is why I like them. And so I used just a voice synthesis, and then I put it into this system, and I got some interesting results. Let's say this one's, for example. No, first of all, sorry. I take a synthetic voice, okay, and I make some fake hip hop thing because it's boring otherwise. And I want the pitch to be all not super straight, but moving a bit, but a bit mechanical, you know. So I just did a stutter here, and this is a psychiatrist object, okay, and I have a sample, and let's try it. Hopefully it's gonna work. Yes.
If it raps tsunami, the tracks behind me, cats that try me, the raps. Ooh, rhyme. You out, yeah. Mind if it ain't talent and keep it out. If you ain't bought it, raps tsunami, the tracks behind me, cats that try me, the raps too grimy.
And so on. So it's very flat, a bit flat, very grainy. I love it. It's really nice because it's between a real voice and synthetic. And then I put this into this, and I get stuff like this one, I hope. Okay, and yes, another story before I forget, the clicks. The clicks, I would love to, in buffer compose, to have a way to have fade in, fade out, or something like that. We'll talk about it. So this, it comes from the sound file itself at the beginning. So for example, this one I just distorted my space. That's why it's like this. So the thing, I have nice and very bad examples, but it takes so long to decide which ones are good and bad. The big problem for me is that it sounds like granular synthesis. It doesn't sound, yes, it's very interesting, but we've been doing that since the, let's say, 80s, 90s, and I wanted something else. I really wanted to have bigger grains, more articulated between each other, and so on. And I'm sure I will make it work one day, but because I know I have a very good idea where are the problems. It's a bit of everywhere, but this is just a super prototype, yeah. So, you know, that's it. If you have, and another thing, sorry, one last thing. So I'm very interested by super short sounds, like almost click, but you barely hear the voice and so on, very precise. Something you maybe don't hear on speakers, but only headphones or in-ear monitors. And you may see that tomorrow. You will see that tomorrow. But so impulse response is very interesting. So I try to do some very strange NMF things with impulse responses, and you will hear that tomorrow.
It's just there's so many good ideas of trying to synchronize all these things, but when you show me the design of tessellation, I don't understand this bit. So is it because you want to sample, once you've got 100 elements by time,
Yeah.
you want to find ways of looking at them differently than horizontally or vertically,
Yeah.
and you want to find connections
No.
between...
Are being
what is it?
tiled by bits?
What is it?
What I want to do is generative articulation. So I've been very frustrated by, it's a bit exaggerated to say that, with cat art, for example, because how you have a set of clusters and you can play with them. Some people have even made sequencers between grains and so on. But it's not enough. For me, it's still a granular synthesis engine. So my idea was to give it a time. How do you connect, how are these grains connected in terms of time? And I want to play with this time by stretching, inversing, distorting the relationships.